Hi, this is Alex from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book on record to do. Today's book is The Muppet Take Manhattan from 1984. So let's get started.
Hi there, this is Scooter, and I'm going to tell you the story of The Muppets Take Manhattan. All you have to do is look at your book, listen, and turn the page whenever you hear this bell. Are you ready? Okay then, here goes. This is a story about a little frog with big dreams and the pig who loved him. It's the story of a bunch of stage-struck kids in the only city big enough to put all their names in lights. And like many a showbiz tale, this one begins at the end of the senior class variety show.
That's the page bell.
What do you know?
Well, pardonnez-moi.
The audience went wild. Beaming with pride, the Muppets took their bows and then stepped back. They left Kermit alone in the spotlight, blushing reddish green. Kermit was the writer, producer, and director of the senior class show, Manhattan Melodies.
What a frog.
What a show!
See you on Broadway.
The audience roared,
But the show's not ready.
said Kermit. Then he looked into the hopeful faces of his friends. It was graduation day, and soon they would part. It might be years before they would be together again.
You're right.
He decided.
What are we waiting for? Let's take this show to Broadway.
The famous skyline, the dazzling lights, the music and magic of Manhattan. It was all there, just outside the bus terminal where they rented lockers for the night.
Just for one night.
Fozzie reminded them.
Tomorrow, we'll be Broadway stars.
One night became 1 week, and then 1 month. They saw every Broadway producer in New York, but no one was interested in a show written by a frog and starring a pig, a bear, and a gonzo. Money and hope were running out when the weary crew crowded into a booth at a luncheonette called Pete's. Gonzo tugged at Kermit's right arm and asked a question on everyone's mind.
What are we gonna do next?
Floyd tugged at Kermit's left arm and asked a question on everyone's stomach.
Do we, got enough bread left to buy some, bread?
I don't know.
Cried Kermit. Shoulders sagging, he excused himself from the table.
Poor Kermit.
Said Miss Piggy.
He's blaming himself for everything.
Then she shrieked.
Ah!
Oh, as a rat in an apron came up to the table.
I'm Rizzo, your waiter.
He announced.
What do you have? The number for the Board of Health.
Said Floyd. Rizzo threw down his tiny tray.
That does it. I worked my whiskers off. And for what? Rat jokes. Hardly any tips. I'm going broke here.
Oh, we know how you feel.
Fozzie said sympathetically.
We're broke, too.
Sorry, not my table.
Snapped Rizzo. He left in a huff. At the counter, Kermit was talking to Pete, the owner, and his pretty young daughter, Jenny.
So you see,
Kermit explained.
my friends and I are going to be rich and famous soon. But right now, we haven't got enough money to pay for our food.
Jenny was impressed with Kermit's honesty and spirit. Pete was, too. He agreed to feed the hungry crew. But by the time Kermit returned with the good news, his friends had reached a decision. To take the pressure off him, they would leave town and look for work elsewhere.
We've had some excellent job offers.
Fozzie fibbed. We can make, really big butts on the road. Janice tried to sound cheerful.
Got to go.
Said Animal sadly.
I understand,
Kermit gulped.
but I'm not giving up. I'll sell this show and send for you all.
The very next day, they all went their separate ways. At the train station, Miss Piggy tried to hide her breaking heart.
One shall return.
She pledged.
We'll be married, Kermit, the moment Manhattan Melodies opens on Broadway.
top of the Empire State Building, a lonely little frog stared defiantly down at the big city.
I'm gonna make it, New York!
Kermit vowed. He had a dream, he had a plan, and he had a lot of new friends. Pete gave him a job washing dishes. Jenny volunteered to make the costumes he needed. Even Rizzo and his Rat Pack were willing to help. For the first part of his plan, Kermit dressed up like the flashiest frog in show business.
If you can't beat them, join them,
He said. Then he fast-talked his way into the office of the biggest talent agent in New York.
Lenny, baby, sweetheart.
Kermit cried, handing the startled man a script.
Read it. You'll love it, Lenny, baby.
Then he hurried away. Unfortunately, as soon as he was out the door, the agent threw the script in the wastebasket. Later that day, Kermit described his triumph to his new friend Jenny. Across the street in dark glasses and a trench coat, an old friend watched. Unable to part from her beloved frog, Miss Piggy had secretly returned. But the sight of him smiling brightly at another woman was more than she could bear. Letting out a squeal of rage, Piggy rushed off.
What we need next is a whisper campaign to get important people talking about our show.
Kermit decided. So a few days later, disguised as a big-time producer, Kermit hid Rizzo and his rat friends under his coat and walked into a famous restaurant. The rats crawled under the tables and started whispering about a wonderful new show. But just as everyone began to talk excitedly about Manhattan melodies, Rizzo grabbed for some food. Rats! Someone yelled. Rats! Someone cried. Rizzo and his friends scurried through the elegant restaurant. Women screamed. Grown men fainted. Waiters scrambled on the tabletops. And Kermit sailed out at the end of the maitre d's' shoe. After this disaster, Kermit's spirits were low indeed. To cheer him up, Jenny took him jogging. While they were running through Central Park, a mugger raced past them. He was being chased by a pink, plump, and furious roller skater.
Piggy?
Kermit gasped as his old friend streaked by. By the time he caught up to her, Miss Piggy was handing a sorry mugger over to the police.
You certainly look different, Kermit.
She sniffed.
No more flashy gold chains to impress a certain young lady. No fancy coat full of rats.
Piggy, have you been spying on me?
Kermit cried.
I spied because I care.
Piggy responded angrily.
Well, I care too.
Kermit confessed, and a horse and carriage ride through the park turned Pig and Frog into lovebirds again.
Oh,
Miss Piggy cooed.
if only we had known one another as tiny babies. Ah, I would have loved you even then.
Each day's mail brought news of old friends. Ralph was running a dog kennel. Floyd wrote that the Electric Mayhem Band had gotten
A terrific gig playing polka music, and everything couldn't be more copacetic.
Fozzie Bear was having a hard time hibernating in a co-ed cave up north. Down south, Gonzo and Camilla were performing astounding stunts on water skis.
We've joined a traveling aqua cave where I met some great-looking chickens.
Wrote Gonzo.
For the climax of my act, the chickens sing while I hurl my body through the flaming circle of doom and land comfortably in an imitation leather easy chair.
It was great getting cards from all over the country, but Kermit had no good news to send back to his friends. But one day, the letter arrived. It was from Ronnie Crawford, the son of the famous Broadway producer Bernard Crawford. As his very first show, Ronnie wanted to produce Manhattan Melodies.
We did it!
Kermit telephoned Piggy his piece.
You're going to be a star. Jenny will do the costumes. We've got to get the gang back right away. See you in 10 minutes.
He promised and hung up. Kermit stepped off the curb, full of plans. We've got so much to do, he thought as he started to cross the street.
Costume fittings and rehearsals and...
Suddenly, there was a squeal of tires and a horrible thud. A crowd gathered around the small green body lying on the pavement.
Where am I? Who am I?
Kermit moaned. As a result of his accident, he had developed amnesia. Hours later, Ronnie Crawford showed up at Pete's. He found Miss Piggy wild with worry. Kermit had not returned.
We're opening in 2 weeks and the writer and star of our show is missing?
Exclaimed the young producer.
We'll find him.
Jenny promised. Pete sent telegrams to the others, telling them to hurry back to the city. They all came, bringing many new friends with them. And on the day of the opening, they all gathered gloomily around the table at Pete's, where they'd last been together. All of them but Kermit, who had still not returned. The luncheonette doors opened. In strolled 4 frogs in 3-piece suits.
It's him!
Fozzie shouted.
Kermit!
Piggy swooned. But Kermit barely blinked at them. His memory gone, he was now working as an advertising executive. His old friends tried everything to get him to remember. They even rushed him to the theater where his name was up in lights. Nothing worked.
Don't you even remember what?
Miss Piggy finally said.
We are engaged to be married.
Engaged to a pig?
Kermit was amused.
Think I'd go hog wild? Were we going to be married in Central Pork? Maybe you could bring home the bacon.
With an outraged squeal and a killer karate chop, Miss Piggy sent Kermit soaring.
Ooh,
When he landed, he looked up to find all his old friends staring down at him.
Piggy, Jenny, Fozzie, where am I?
He said. He had been cured at last. Kermit, we knew you'd come back. Manhattan Melodies opened that night, and Miss Piggy's fondest dreams came true. Not only was she a Broadway star, but a Broadway bride as well. In the show's grand finale, she and her beloved Kermit were married at last. To the tears, cheers, and applause of all.
So that was the Muppet Take Me Manhattan from 1984. Now, I've seen this movie a lot in the 80s, broken up. I never seen the movie completely. And then I tried to watch this movie again in 2017. And it was a pretty boring film. So maybe I just didn't like the Muppets back when I seen it in the 80s, and that's why I couldn't sit through the whole movie. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day. And this is our last book for this series. Next time we'll do a whole new series of books from the 50s or 40s up until the 80s. So I'll have another video coming out real soon.